That's right, new sponsor alert. Visit nordvpn.com/offhand to protect yourself from the dark, scary, and unknown corners of the internet.
Too loud. Jeez.
Yeah. I think it's go time. Hello everybody, my name is Offhand Disney, and today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. See, you all know that I am a pro gamer. It's not, debatable at all. I am indeed a pro gamer. And there was one game that was really popular a few years back that I never really decided to hop into, even though it does have some tangential, tenuous ties and other T-words with the Walt Disney Company and the Disney parks more specifically, and that's this game right here, Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, if you're not aware of what this game is, don't worry, I'll explain as we go along. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's is a horror survival game that was released nearly 10 years ago back in 2014, where you take on the role of a night guard, tasked with watching over the restaurant Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a pizzeria/arcade/animatronic dinner show. Now, if that sounds familiar, don't worry, we're gonna get to that. Okay. Oh, we can look around, and there's a phone. Close the door. Okay, this game isn't super scary, it's just a phone simulator. And it actually builds a pretty scary environment. Let me show you here. I'm gonna stop talking about it, I'm just gonna show you. Five Nights at Freddy's was developed by Scott Cawthon after his previous game, Chipper & Sons Lumber Company, got negative reviews, and some of its users complained that the main protagonist, I'm assuming his name is Chipper, looked like one of those scary animatronics you would see at Chuck E. Cheese, Showbiz Pizza, and yes, sometimes the Disney parks. So leaning into the criticism, Scott designed his next game to be purposefully scary and developed the very first Five Nights at Freddy's over the course of 6 months before it was released in August of 2014 and was an immediate smash hit. Thanks, of course, to YouTubers like me. See, Let's Plays were very big on YouTube at the time, and they still kind of are, and different YouTubers would stream themselves or film themselves playing this game because there were a lot of there's Bonnie, a lot of jump scares in this game. So it was fun to watch people get scared. It was fun to watch people try to beat this game. But my friends, we're not here to talk about the game aspect. In fact, we're here to talk about the story and what inspired it. And specifically, the singing animatronics. Now, the odds are if you've ever been to a Disney park, you have seen a singing animatronic, whether that be on Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion, or closer to Five Nights at Freddy's, the Country Bear Jamboree, or the Enchanted Tiki Room. And depending on who you ask, these animatronics are either extremely impressive feats of engineering, songwriting, script writing, and acting, or creepy, jerky robots that unnerve you to look at, as in the case of my wife. She will not step foot inside of the Country Bear Jamboree. Now, if you're a pro gamer like me, you know all about the classic game console, the Atari, developed and created by Nolan Bushnell. And Nolan Bushnell is also the founder of Chuck E. Cheese, or Chuck E. Cheese's. It depends on who you ask. I'm not really sure that it makes that much of a difference. Now, my good friend Kevin Perjurer over on the Defunct Land channel has a video about the history of Chuck E. Cheese's and how all of this came to be. Essentially, Nolan wanted to clean up the image of the video game arcade, taking it from a smoke-filled room fueled by beer and angry, raging teenagers to something more family-friendly, an arcade where parents and children could have fun together. You see, after graduating college from the University of Utah, Nolan Bushnell, like many of us who watch this channel, had aspirations of working for WED Enterprises, otherwise known today as Walt Disney Imagineering. He wanted to be an Imagineer. When asked about Disneyland and Disney, Bushnell stated that, quote, "Although it is a place devoted to fun and frivolity, it is really on the cutting edge of technology. People don't realize that frivolity is the gateway to the future, and that most future products don't start as necessities, but as toys." This guy is a man after my own heart. Even looking at the Disney parks today, they are still on the cutting edge of entertainment technology, sometimes even just technology, full stop. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at our story, Disney wasn't interested in hiring. You really missed out, Disney. You look at this guy. Look what he accomplished. You could have hired the next Tony Baxter, the next Marty Sklar, the next Claude Coates or Ex Atencio, but you didn't. You missed out. So instead, Nolan took his talents to Ampex, where he would nurture his love for video games and technology and eventually help develop Pong. Yeah, that that Pong. And Bushnell would take his success with Pong and Atari and his love for the Disney parks when it came to animatronics, things like the Country Bear Jamboree and the Enchanted Tiki Room, to found Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater. And you can see where the Five Nights at Freddy's comparisons start to come into the picture here. Atari co-founder Ted Dabney says of Pizza Time Theater, quote, "Chuck E. Cheese was always his, Nolan's, passion project, even before Atari was a thing. He wanted to start a business of family-friendly restaurants with amusement park midway games. I think initially it made no fiscal sense, so he shelved it for a while, but then when Atari took off, he had the means to pursue it, plus a built-in distribution model for Atari's new releases." Originally, the restaurant was supposed to be called Coyote Pizza because the main mascot was going to be a coyote, obviously. But upon assembly of the very first show, he realized that the company that had produced the animatronic delivered a rat and not a coyote. So it was suggested to change the name from Coyote Pizza to Rick Rat's Pizza, and that obviously did not have very good connotations for a, restaurant that served food. Instead, it was decided to call the restaurant Chuck E. Cheese, and the rat became the new official mascot, Chuck E., which is actually short, believe it or not, for Charles Entertainment Cheese. That's right, Chuck is Charles and the E stands for entertainment. Like I said, Defunctland has an entire video. I'm gonna leave it to him to get into the nitty gritty. The first Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater opened in San Jose in 1977 and began to expand throughout the United States thereafter. Eventually, through some legal shenanigans and some creative differences, Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater split into two different companies. You had Chuck E. Cheese's and now Showbiz Pizza, whose lead animatronic, the leader of the band, was a bear. And now we're starting to get into the Five Nights comparisons. As I mentioned earlier, watching these videos of the old animatronic shows can either be entertaining or creepy depending on who you ask, especially with the Showbiz Pizza performances. I don't know, something about the animatronics just really kind of move unnaturally. They freak me out. And the reason you might be creeped out is because of something called the Uncanny Valley. Now, we've talked about this before in my video, Why Is It's a Small World So Creepy? But it still applies here. Your brain is registering that this thing is moving and talking, speaking. These animatronics are meant to not really come off as human, but they are meant to come across as living, breathing creatures. But we know that they're robots, so everything about them just seems a little wrong, a little off-putting. Which is why when Chipper & Sons Lumber Company released, people said that these beaver characters sort of looked uncanny, almost like animatronics.
This game sucks!
And when Scott fully leaned into the creepy animatronics sort of vibe for his next game, he decided why not go all out and make it a parody, a horror parody, of Chuck E. Cheese. You have Freddy Fazbear, the lead singer of the band, Bonnie the Bunny, the guitarist, and Chica, a chicken with a cupcake. And I also think it's interesting, or something worth mentioning at least, is that the company, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, in the lore of the game was co-founded by two men, which sounds very similar, if you know your Disney history, to the Walt Disney Company. Walt and Roy founded Disney, and William Afton and another guy, Henry Emily, founded the Freddy Fazbear Pizza Company. So that'll be cool to... That's it? That was the scary part? Now this game is easy! Now, ever since this first game, the series has expanded to different settings, like a haunted house attraction, similar to what you'd find, say, at like Halloween Horror Nights over at Universal, all the way up to something called Pizzaplex, which is just a very 80s coded, neon-covered shopping mall area. Or maybe like Dave & Buster's, a bigger building full of arcade games, and signs, and loud noises, and attractions, and restaurants. But I just thought it was interesting, if you follow the breadcrumbs that this game leads back to the inspiration for the original Five Nights at Freddy's, and the inspiration for the inspiration, Chuck E. Cheese, you can arrive back at where else but Disneyland. Are audio animatronics creepy? Now that's for you to decide. For me, not really, especially when they're like high quality animatronics from the Disney parks. They don't really bother me, but when it's a low quality, mass produced, sort of cheap looking animatronic like from Showbiz Pizza, it's a little unnerving. But at the same time, I don't know, they kind of have a charm, you know what I mean? I don't know, I just thought that would be a fun little quick video to make talking about these audio animatronics and how they can be creepy and how that sort of inspired Five Nights at Freddy's, which is becoming a movie soon with Matthew Lillard. That is why Shaggy was in the video earlier, if you didn't get that. Matthew Lillard is playing one of the founders of the pizzeria. And that, I think, about wraps it up, everybody. Thank you all. Huh? Oh, that's right, the new ad, the new sponsorship. Everybody, NordVPN sponsored this video. Hey, Pro Gaming Down, the boss was wondering, what are you doing? You know me, just gaming. Listen, the boss needs this ad done by the end of the video, or we're gonna be in the hole, like the multiversal wormhole hole. Okay, you just gotta work on. What do you? Wait. No. I got DDoSed. You got DDoSed in a single-player survival game? Yeah, man, I was just trying to break this wall down and someone DDoSed me. Why would they do that? I mean, I tell you this as a friend, it's probably because you weren't masking your IP using nordvpn.com/offhand. Wait, you mean to tell me that if I go to nordvpn.com/offhand, I get 59% off of a 2-year plan so I don't get DDoSed every 3 seconds when I'm just trying to play Minecraft? Oh, we're doing it right, like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, using the link in the description down below or just typing in /offhand at the end of the URL, you can get yourself access to offers hitherto undreamt of. NordVPN.com/offhand hides your browsing data and encrypts your IP address. Encryption, ooh, this sounds like something a mummy would stay in. And let me tell you this, NordVPN.com/offhand lets you connect to thousands of different servers all over the world so you can serve from wherever you're, serving from in that moment. Oh yeah, well here's a very smart question for you. What if I try it out and decide I just don't really like it and the VPN's not for me? What an absolutely just stupid thing to say. NordVPN has a 30-day money-back guarantee, pro gamer. Okay, listen, if you're not sure that NordVPN is right for you, try it out for 30 days, risk-free. Now remember, one last time, this is for you, gamer. And you, I suppose, good friend. Head over to nordvpn.com/offhand for 59% off of a 2-year plan or 39% off of a 1-year plan. There's a bunch of different plans you can choose from. All of them are super, super solid because it's NordVPN. It's the best VPN out there. Already got it. Currently playing my video game from the United Kingdom. Well, it seems the ad and my work here is done. I'll see you later, pro gamer. The boss will be very, very happy about this. Hey, by the way, don't touch my wheat farm. What are you even doing in the server anyway? I don't know. I was just kind of knocking walls over. All right, see ya, man. And I love being a pro gamer. Now, Scott Cawthon semi-retired from the development of Five Nights at Freddy's in 2021 after some justifiable fan outrage, and since then Steel Wool Studios has taken on the development job. They've made Security Breach, they're making Sister Location 2, there's a bunch of games in the pipeline, I'm assuming. And I wanted to make this video not to just have an excuse to play a game for a video, but also to draw attention to the links that everything shares and how eventually, if you dig far enough down, everything ties back to Disneyland, especially anything having to do with animatronics. I mean, Walt even came up with and trademarked the word audio animatronics. It has to do with Disney animatronics specifically. All the other ones can just be called animatronics, but you put that audio before them, and that's Disney. But the most important thing I think about the Five Nights at Freddy's sort of world is the extremely dedicated fan community that these games have garnered. It's just interesting looking from the outside in. I was in high school when these games came out, and a lot of people were younger, and now that we're all growing up and the movie's coming out, it's very interesting to see this fandom sort of evolve. Disney's been around for a while longer, but it's interesting to just look in and see this. And I think that, is that it? Is that good? Yep, says here that we are about done. All right, well, I suppose that means it's time for the end card. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this video all about Disney's tangential ties to a very popular video game franchise. If you enjoyed it, why not hit the like button? And if you're new around here, why not hit the subscribe button? You can see in the background, that's actually me playing through the game as we speak. This was just a really fun video to make that I haven't really seen anybody acknowledge before, and I just, you know, if there's anyone to talk about gaming and Disney, it's me. It's the pro gamer. A very special thank you to my supporters over at patreon.com/offhanddisney. They get early access to videos like this one for just $1 a month or more, depending on which tier you actually pledge to. And $1 is the minimum, but you do get access to most of the perks. So a very, very big thank you to all of you. You all help keep the channel going. You all know how much I value you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you feel so inclined, you can follow me on my other social media profiles. That's at offhanddisney on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and Threads now, actually. It's offhand.disney. It's like a little period in between offhand and Disney because somebody else has stolen the offhand Disney Instagram handle from me. I will be heading to Walt Disney World this next week for a half vacation, half work trip. I am very, very excited with what I have in mind. It's gonna be fun. All the ideas I have written down in my notepad app. It's gonna be a great time. I hope to see some of you there, and if I don't see you there, I will see you here next week. Usually same time, usually the same place. Talking about something different though. Maybe, potentially, if we're lucky, Living with the land. Goodbye.